Hello everyone, this is Anil Kumar. In the last video, we have seen about like how to insert the different users using the post method, and we can able to retrieve the user details. And the another function we have missed is the delete function. Let us see like how can we delete the data, delete function, and with using the this REST API implementation. So let me write a new method over here. Maybe public void kind of like delete user. Okay, this is also a kind of very simple one. We will delete the user based on the ID. Whatever the ID that we will provide as an input, using that ID, it would search in the database, and if the user finds with that particular ID, and it would able to delete that. Okay, it's a very simple function using the post method. So we will get the input as a path variable. Okay, so path variable would be like simple string ID if it can able to pass through the postman, or maybe a user request. We have a very simple method called user repo dot delete by id. Okay, delete by id is the one which the code repository for SpringBoot is able to provide us. So it would just search the particular id, and it would able to delete that. But at the same time, we need to map this request, right? Request mapping. So request mapping, the method what it has to support the http method is, we can call it as a request method. Okay, request method dot delete. So it has to be an appropriate method, and the value of the type of the input request is need to have user, um, and it should take the appropriate parameterized id. Okay, so that it would be accommodated into this id field, and it can able to delete that. So I think I have stopped this server. So let me rerun this particular application, and we would able to we will try to insert the data, and try to test this delete of function as well. Go to Spring Boot demo application, and run it, so that the it would kickstart the Spring Boot application along with the um, all the kind of like necessary artifacts. It is rebooting with the Tomcat server, and it is able to listen to the 8080 port. Actually, I have changed this 8080 port here in the properties. So let me test this out in using the postman. I think previously we have all this data. If you try to request this particular data using the get method with the users, I think nothing will be displayed because the server has restarted. So we need to insert the data one by one, because we already in the postman method, in the post request, we had some body. We have one already the same type of data we have been already set. So this is the JSON format. Let me insert this one particular record using the post method. 102 user 102 be inserted, and I am also try to insert another record, maybe 103. I will call it as a user 103, and the language is Spanish. Okay, Spanish. uh, Let me see whether these two records been inserted or not. Right now it is showing empty, right? If you click on the get method to pull all the user record, yeah, now it is able to get all the data, right? 102 and 103. Let me try to execute a delete function. I will remove this 103 using the postman delete. So in the delete, we can justly simply we can pass an argument called path variable 103. See, right now we have both these two users are present. I am actually Yeah, I think you can select the delete operation over here. Okay, delete, and just an argument try to request for 103 delete operation, and execute this particular method, so that I think something has been executed. Probably you couldn't able to notice that, but when you go to the get method and click on send, see the 103 has gone. Only one user is existing. Okay, I think this is a very simple method. Probably you could able to get this. But now the another part we can make is a put method, where I think we have seen the operations like we can able to retrieve the user. Post means like we can insert the data, new user data. Okay, and we were able to delete the user. Okay, particular invoking particular ID, and we can able to delete. We can also retrieve all the users. The another post for like in the postman, another method that we can able to implement is the put method. That means like updating a particular user data. Probably this is bit not a straightforward like one single liner. We need to do some stuff over here, but let me explain. Please observe carefully what I'm trying to update here. I'm defining one method, public void simple, that is update user. In this update user, we need to actually provide a request body and path variable. Why? Because this has to be known like what is the data to be updated. Okay, which ID, that which user that data is to be updated, and what is that data. So I am providing a body with the new data, and also I am also passing in query parameter. Okay. So for that I need two parameters. So the request body, where I am passing the user, okay, user object, and another argument is a path variable. Okay, where I am updating this particular ID. Okay, maybe the ID which been like provided in the input. Okay. So this is the skeleton of this particular method. Let me try to write it. I think we need to have a request mapping as well, right? So this is a request mapping. So in this request mapping, the method that we try to invoke is the put method for this particular update operation. So we will see request method dot, what is the method that we need to implement, put. And there is another method, some other methods are also there. We will see. I think those are not much required, but we can see the functionality may be like the patch would be like partial update, but we will see put now. Okay, put would be like updating a data. What data it would update? I think this is a small syntax error. Method, this is the put method, and the query request value would be like something called user. Same thing like user, we need to provide a dynamic ID. Okay, so much similar pattern actually we will use, but what we will do is we need to do a kind of a query to the existing database, the user repo. um, User repo, we need to see whether this particular user is existing or not. User repo, to find the particular user in this particular repo is using the find by id. We will use this particular id. Okay, so I'm providing an input id. So this is the data to be updated for this particular user id. So I am finding finding the data. Okay, so it would return me like a user object that is an existing user. So I'm trying to define user uh, existing db user, something like existing user, maybe not db. Okay, just an existing user, but it is giving an error. What it is Yeah, change the type to existing user to optional user. So see, Java 8 from Java 8 onwards, actually the Java 8 has implemented a concept called uh, optional list, which actually checks the null values. Okay, so null values, and it would only return. So what it is saying is optional user, if it is able to find this particular user id data, it will return the user data, otherwise it may not return that optional. Okay, so it may or may not return the data. If it is not there, it won't return, so it's already checked. But but we need to see, like, a proper check has to be done this user data. So for that, there is a method called, we need to put a just a validation. If user is present, okay, then we need to capture user data dot get, then only that actual get would be given, like this uh, particular user would be provided. What is that user? We have a user. Okay, user object would be returned from this particular existing user. So what we will do is, we will try to handle the null exception as well. Okay, so suppose, say, if it is not there, this particular id is not there, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to throw a exception called, something called as throw new exception. Okay, and something like user does not exist, user does not exist. Okay, I think similar kind of thing we can do even in the delete operation also. If that delete user id is not present, we cannot able to delete some such kind of exception also, we can place it. Okay, so if it is there, probably we are trying to fetch this from the existing user. So I think the user attribute is already there, so it is actually saying the given new attribute here. So what I'm trying to here do here is, existing user is present, so I'm trying to get throw new exception. I think we need to throw this exception, so I'm just handling in this particular exception. Probably it is not a best practice, but for demonstration of this particular example, I'm trying to uh, throwing this exception. So new user, I'm able to get it to the existing user. Oh, sorry, I think the data what we are providing is the new user. This is the existing user. Okay, I'm taking to the existing user. Okay, this is the existing user dot get existing, yeah, probably existing db user. I'm trying to just make existing db user, so that the name does not clash. So this existing user, what I'm trying to put, the values of only, we have what are the ids that are present, like we have, if you go to the user object, we have id, name, language. So id is our primary key, right? So with using this id, okay, I am updating the name and language. So this is the data that I need to update using this id. So what we need to do is, we need to capture that name and language. So we need to set it existing user dot set name. Okay, from where we need to set? From new user, we need to pick up the data. Okay, get name. Okay, so we need to set that for that particular id means like the existing id. So, and another, what is the another value? Existing user dot set language. So new user dot uh, get language, right? So after setting, what we need to do? just we need to save this existing user with the same id. Okay, id is already there. We should not update, we should not set the id, because id is the primary key. We are only referencing that particular id to get the particular user. We are populating, updating the data, whatever the new data that is being provided by the new user. So the method that we need to use is, we have a user repo, right? So user repo dot save. Okay, we have save using the existing user. Okay, if you use this method, it should able to update with the new values, new name and new language, whatever we have been provided. So the request parameters also have been identified. This is the put method. Let me execute this particular method using the postman. Probably I need to restart the server because we have changed a lot of code, right? So we'll test this out. I have stopped this server because I need to free the port, right? 8080. So let me rerun this application. Where is our Spring Boot starter? Okay, this is the Spring Boot DOM application. I need to kickstart this particular application, and it is running. So after running, see what will happen. No user data would exist, because everything would be clean up, because this is an in-memory database. It's not like a physical database we haven't configured. This is a kind of just a repo. So Spring Boot application has started. So let me just test it out. It should be an empty, nothing will be there because server has newly restarted. So I will try to insert only couple of records. Okay, post, I am try to insert 103 here. Okay, so and I will insert 104 as well. Okay, so 104, I'm actually making this as English. Okay, we have two values now. So there are two values I have inserted. Let me see those values are there. So we have 103 user 103 Spanish language, and 104 we have user 104 and English. So we have inserted two values, 103 and 104. Let me try this particular put method, how it able, whether what kind of data that we need to insert for this put operation. So I will try to change the existing data to the put, like the method to the put, and I will try to update this 103 value. So we need to provide a request body, and the request body, and as well as the string parameter, which id would we need to update. So my task would be like, I need to update this 103 id with some user value as something like 203, and this language as some Telugu, or maybe language value like Chinese. Okay, so this one, uh, go to the put method. Okay, okay, and go to the body. uh, Carefully observe the get method. I am trying to insert the one, I'm trying to update the 103 value. So here in the user, I am putting the 103. So 103 is the user which I need to update, and the values that I am trying to give here is user 203. I think this is not kind of alignment, but for the demonstration purpose, just I am trying to give like uh, just to change the values whether it is updating or not, and it is Chinese. But what is the original value for 103? 103 user 103 and Spanish. So in the put method, I am giving and trying to execute this particular put method. So put method eventually will update the data. Let me send this. Okay, and we need to see for 103 id whether this data is inserted or not. If you go and yeah, if you see the values it is being pulled is for 103 the data being updated to user 203 and Chinese. The earlier values were like user 103 and the Spanish language. So this is how we need to can implement the put method. And yeah, in fact, even if you try to see the delete method as well, maybe for a demonstration purpose, I will try to remove 103. Okay, let me send this 103, maybe not 103, probably 109. uh, I think 104 it is. I will try to delete 104. Okay, 104, this is the delete operation. Yeah, this is being executed, and let me pull this, only it will get 103 with the latest updated values like user 203 and Chinese. And what if like put there is an exception, right? We have thrown one exception which were like we try to update a user which is not there. There is only one user existing, right? Currently in the get we have only 103. I'm trying to update a user which is not there. Let me see, we have thrown one exception, user does not exist, to update, right? So whether I try to execute this put method for 125 where user is not existing in the DB, what kind of exception it is throwing. Okay, let me see. I think it is not executed properly, but that's okay, because if it does not existing user does not exist, I think the it has to be thrown. Yeah, I think it is executed actually. It is being shown like user does not exist because this 125 does not exist. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. Please click on the like button and do subscribe to my channel for further videos. Thank you.